Today it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Gonzalo Moreno. Gonzalo is the Executive President of the National Federation of Poultry Farmers of Colombia, FENAVI, a representative union of the Colombian poultry sector. It's a position he assumed in 2018. Between 2016 and 2018, Gonzalo served as Secretary General of the Colombian Association of Flour Exporters, ASO Colflores. Gonzalo is a lawyer from the Universidad Javeriana and Universidad del País Vasco in San Sebastián, Spain. He is a specialist in commercial law and tax law, master in private law, Universidad de los Andes. His academic background led him to pursue an MBA with an emphasis in finance and sustainable development at the INCAE Business School in Costa Rica. He is also currently a professor of commercial law and business law at the University de los Andes. Today, Mr. Moreno will speak on the topic, the Colombia Egg Consumption Miracle, from 128 to 345 per capita egg consumption, this growth over 30 years. Colombia is the number 10 largest egg production country in the world and has achieved a consumption among the highest at 345 eggs per capita. So before we start the webinar presentation, you'll note that at the bottom of the screen, there's a Q&A button for questions that you may enter your questions at any time during the presentation. It won't interrupt anything. I will see those questions, and at the end, I'll choose a few of them to ask Mr. Moreno at the end of the presentation. And any questions that we do not get to, I will have and come back to you later and work on those after the fact. So, well, without further ado, I present to you Mr. Gonzalo Moreno and the Colombian Egg Consumption Miracle. Thank you, Gonzalo.
Good morning for all, good afternoon for the person that are in Asia, good night for some that are on the other side of the world. Can you hear clearly?
Sounds good.
Okay, and you can see my presentation. Okay,
yes.
Perfect.
Perfect.
So they say that we are a miracle. I don't know if we are that miracle, but I'm going to explain to you how the Colombian egg industry and in general the poultry industry have been working for the past years. Before getting into the marketing stuff, I'm going to say that it's not an only answer how you can get from one point to another. It's different factors. So I'm going to talk not only about marketing, but some sanitary issues and also how the collaboration in the industry have helped to achieve this goal. This is the facts that we're going to talk. We're going to talk about the poultry facts, our structure of the association, the egg consumption, how to make the egg powerful. That is what we have been doing for the past 30 years. Some context, the marketed research behind what drive us to have some of these answers for the public, communications, and some alliances that we have made in order to grow. This is the Colombian poultry industry. To give you a broad idea, we produce roughly 3 million tons of chicken and eggs. We produce 1.8, 1.9 million tons of chicken, and we produce, in English, 18 billion eggs. As Tom was telling, we are the 10th largest egg and chicken producer of the world. We have a unique condition, is that we don't produce our corn or our soy. It's imported. Before the free trade agreement with the United States was imported from Argentina and Brazil, now it's imported from the US. We are going to reach this year a per capita consumption of 346 eggs. That will give us the second or the third largest per capita egg consumption of the world. We consume 36 kilograms of chicken a year. We have 5,268 farmers all across the country in Biosecurity farms is mandatory by law. We're going to explain a little bit later about that. Over a year, there is born 1 billion birds. That is in total, is 927 million for the poultry production, and is 52 chickens for the egg production. So we roughly have 7.5 million hens in a year in production or in the beginning production. The size of our economy is 27 billion pesos, and we have a growth last year of 3.1%. That is 350,000 Colombians that depend on the poultry industry all across. This is a map. Oh, first, we're going to explain how we get into the protein production. This is in 1994. This year was important because in 1994, we create our checkoff account. Our checkoff account, every hatchery, the 45 hatcheries that we have in the country, they pay a little amount of money, and that is how we sustain the federation. It's a checkoff made by law, similar that we have in the US for soy or for eggs, or in some parts of Europe. We have it since 1994. To give you an overview, in 1994, we produced roughly 400,000 tons of chicken, and we produce 6 billion eggs. This year, we're going to reach 1.8 million tons. So that means 4 times, almost 5 times, 4.3 times more chicken production in the past 30 years. And for the egg consumption, we have growth from 6 billion eggs to 18 billion eggs. The green line is beef, to give you a rough idea how it's a steady line, similar to what is happening in the world. And pork is the purple line, that is what we have been growing. However, it started really low. So hopefully they will continue growing, and one point they will reach the same level as beef consumption. And this is the per capita consumption. The per capita consumption of the country, we started in 1994, as I told you, with 124 eggs and mainly 12 kilograms of chicken, and now is almost 3 times that. Beef, as I was telling you, is a steady line, and pork, it continues growing, and hopefully it continues growing. This is the map that I want to show you. Colombia, we have a topography really unique. We have 3 big mountains that cross the country, cordilleras. That means that one of the challenges that we have is topography, is how to get one from one point to another. Therefore, all the dots that you see, the red dots are poultry farms. The yellow lines are layer farms for egg production. The purple ones are the breeders' farms. The green, like diamonds, are the hatcheries. And we have 100 processing plants all across the country. As you see, we have some parts of the country that there is not farms, there is no production, and there is no cities. That part of the city is really rough to get in. This part that I'm pointing now is similar to the Mato Grosso that they have in Brazil, and like the Midwest in the US. It's all plain. And over here is the jungle all the way down. So we have quite opportunities in order to grow, hopefully with more developed infrastructure. So it will be easy to get there. We have some small farms in the border, but it's really tough to get there. They go there by boat. So to continue talking about that, the FENAVI structure, as Tom was saying, we are the association that represent the chicken, the egg, and the hatcheries. We have been working together since 1981. Actually, last Saturday was our 41 anniversary. It's in 1983. It's our 49th anniversary. We have several programs funded by the Checkoff. That is a technical program, a sustainability program, an economic program, the chicken program, and the egg program that we are going to talk and elaborate more later. We have some regional offices in some parts of the country. So there are 6 other associations that go into the national level. And those associations are the ones that give her, like, listen what is happening in the regions, because the topography is really difficult. So when they asked me to say, hey, tell us why Colombia have been able to grow the per capita consumption from 124x to 346 that we're going to end this year. It's not only about marketing, it's about also the technical and sustainability. In Colombia, as I was telling you before, we cannot control the prices of chicken and eggs because it's a free market. We cannot control the prices of fat because it's global, corn and soy meal and soy. However, we can control our sanitary status and we can use in the best way the resources that we have. Therefore, 80% of the budget that we have for the checkoff go to the technical and to the sustainability programs. But before jumping into that, we're going to give you a little bit of context about Colombia. Colombia, we are 51 million people living in the country. We have an unemployment rate of 10%. But however, we have a high informality rate. The minimum wage, to give you a rough idea about consumption in the country, is $300 per month. It increased $34 from last year to this year. Is the highest increase that we have in history before. Inflation, as always, is a hot topic issue. We have 3% right now in the country. Is getting higher. However, in food is 8.3%. And X was 0.9% last year. We are in the second term of administration, so we are in the middle now of this of a left-wing candidate being elected president. So to start talking about, I'm gonna give you some rough ideas about the sanitary, because it's not only that we sell eggs, but we need to produce more eggs. And in order to produce more eggs, we need to be more efficient with our sanitary. Big headache for all Latin America. In 2021, we have the first case of avian influenza. This is a map of all the countries that have avian influenza in America, not only North America, Central America, and South America. However, we have 66 outbreaks, but we were able to stop all of them in backyard chicken or in wild birds. This is a huge effort that we did with the sanitary authorities, and we put a lot of resources into this. So this is one of the reasons why we were able to continue growing, is because, as you know, with avian influenza, with Newcastle, with all the disease that birds have globally, we need to control them in order to increase production. We were able to eradicate Newcastle in 2021, and we have getting to line avian influenza, and we never have it in commercial farms. Sustainability is the other big issue that we work really hard on it. Since 2017, we've started a sustainability program because we believe that because we don't have enough resources as fed, we don't have all the fed to give to our birds, we need to be really efficient. As you know, a bird roughly eats 120 grams of fed a day. However, it drinks 240 milliliters of water. So we start this process even before that, but in this year, we create our sustainability program. Our sustainability program starts with a materiality assessment of poultry to understand what is the big headaches for the poultry industry, not about sustainability, but all the issues. We did in 2018 a sustainability diagnosis. We created a sustainability roadmap in the same year. And 2019, the environmental program was created. Before the sustainability, we focused mainly on environmental. It was water and manure and everything. In 2020, in the pandemic, we create our sustainability hour in YouTube to get into the most public possible getting with the technology that we are using now to give this conference. But in 2022, we did a big step and we create the first sustainability seal in the world only for the poultry sector. Why we create this? We create this because we need to start embrace sustainability as a competitive, as a tool to defend our sector, but also as a tool to management, as a tool to measure what you are doing regarding water consumption, what you're doing with your finance, what you're doing with your circle economy. And we were able to establish a correlation between the highest income companies or the highest sell companies, the highest income companies, and the highest that have the more sustainability index inside the company. This poultry sustainability seal is made by a third party that is Econtech. It's not us telling you have been able to raise your sustainability seal. And this was quite an effort. We copied actually from the flour industry. They have done it since the 1980s because Colombia export roughly 95% of the flour that they produce. We're the second largest flour producer of the world. And we copy it because we think that that's the path that we need to grow. To give you an idea, today 65% of the birds in the country drink rainwater. Rainwater that have higher quality than even the water that some of the humans consume in the countryside. We became expert in harvesting water because the industry was created in the part of the country that is really desertic. And in 2023, we create the Sustainability Symposium. It's a symposium of 2 days. We do it every 2 years in Bogota. Roughly 600 people come from Colombia and now from many other countries of the region because we talk about sustainability for the poultry sector in general, and it has been quite an opportunity. We're going to present to you a little bit video about sustainability.
It is a seal that intends to make visible the commitment of companies and their poultry products with sustainability through actions beyond the mandatory legal compliance. It is granted by Econtech with the support of FINAVI. Furthermore, it is obtained voluntarily and can be applied to products in the egg, chicken meat, and genetics line that comply with pre-established requirements in environmental, social, and corporate governance issues, such as animal welfare, biosecurity and safety, circular economy, optimization of resource consumption, community relations and social responsibility, and labor welfare.
So to give you an idea, because everybody thinks that it's only about marketing, how you were able to grow. But in order to grow per capita consumption, you need to grow production, and prices need to be really competitive. Today, we can compete with international prices. We have reached a similar price of production of Brazil regarding for eggs, and we produce so much lower than the US. Even if we don't have the Fed, we were able to compete because we have the sanitary status and we will focus on sustainability. We have one of the highest conversion rates on brown chicken in the world right now, and that's how we were able to compete with price. Because at the end, eggs, as you know, is about price in many factors. I'm gonna talk about that. So there is some research behind this. So I'm giving you some overviews on the marketing. We do some marketing research regarding where the consumers are buying, how they're changing the trends. And I give you a little overview. It's in Spanish, but I'm going to translate to you. For instance, this is where the people buy the eggs. So there's a company that is called Radar that will go to the houses and they check where are they buying the products. So in the moms and pops stores, right now, as you see, 53% of the Colombians go to that channel. But last year, in 2023, was 73%. So it's a huge decrease on mom and pop stores, and the people are moving to another channels. And what are those channels? The channels are supermarkets right now. Is roughly 95% of the consumers go and buy in supermarkets. In the previous year was 2023. And the hard discount. The hard discount is getting more market share. Right now is 14.8% of the market. The way that we consume eggs, we consume in panels of 30. And for instance, my family, that is my wife and my 2 children, we consume roughly 90 eggs every week and a half. And the person that's consume more eggs in Colombia are higher income people. When you go to big supermarkets, the older supermarkets are like small supermarkets around the corner of your house. But if you go to big supermarket, we don't have Walmart, but something like Walmart, there will be like 7.6%, and it have increased for 4.8%. And where you say a supermarket of chains is 4.2%. But if you go, why people go and buy eggs in these channels? This 84% is if in the past they will go for prices. So where they're hunting for sales. However, it had been decreased from 2024. Now it's really 47%. The gray line is opportunity hunters. So it's when you go out to buy something, you say, hey, why don't buy some eggs? But if you see, they are buying more value-added products and they want. More value-added products, are you saying some in like free range or something like that? No, that's roughly 1% of our market that goes into the trademarks. The companies have been able to establish a trademark in the eggs. Now the people go and buy eggs because they want one brand or another brand. So this is quite interesting how we have been evolved so fast in the past 5 years. So it's not only about price, but also here where the people are buying the eggs. And this is why they are buying eggs. The red line is necessity. The yellow line is quality. The green line is because they like the taste. 8.8 because the blue one is price, and the 6.7% is because it's a custom. We consume every day for breakfast 2 eggs. We're gonna see that how we have been evolved that. But sometimes at night, we don't consume sandwiches, we don't consume hot dogs. We like to consume rice and eggs at night. For Colombia, the eggs is a food. You see it on the plate. For many other countries like Europe or in the US, it's an ingredient. So we like to see our eggs in the morning and sometimes in the other times of the day. So now communications, that is what we are going to focus for the next half an hour. As we were telling you, 1994, we had 143 eggs per capita consumption. 2004, 177, 2014, 241, 2024, 346 per capita egg consumption. That means in 30 years, almost double the egg consumption in the country. How? We're going to show you a video of the campaigns, a resume of the campaigns that we have done in the past 15 years.
When it comes to nutrition, eggs have always been the right choice. They're healthy, delicious, and the key ingredient of an endless list of preparations. If they are so good, why does everyone keep creating and believing myths about eggs? The truth is, the only bad thing around them is disinformation, a silent enemy that we needed to face. That's why since 2009, we've been demystifying all these wrong accusations with ambassadors who believe in the power of nutrition and campaigns that tell a story. Our first step was working in demystifying the heart problems related with egg consumption. With The Egg is Innocent, a campaign that showed Colombians eggs were good for them and the health of their families. Later, in 2014, we worked to increase consumption through sport leaders like Mariana Pajon, creating our campaign, Colombia, Eat Eggs to Win, where we highlighted the qualities of eggs as a complete food. In 2016, with Eat More Eggs, we told people to add this product to their meals, showing them its all benefits. And around 2018, we were nailing it with our campaign, Nail It Every Day with the Power of Eggs.
Fundamental para recuperar el desgaste muscular. Por eso incluyo en mi alimentación mínimo 2 huevos al día.
Where we taught people all the minerals and vitamins of eggs and how they help them to kill it day by day, while the little ones were learning about it in each episode of the series La Liga Super Crack.
Buen trabajo, equipo. Podemos decir, Liga Super Crack.
An initiative with which we want to increase egg consumption in children and help them understand its benefits from an early age. In 2019, we brought the Gold Line to life, an action that seeks to provide personalized nutritional advice to older adults in Colombia. Last year, we invited people to make things from their hearts, driven by the cardioprotective power of eggs, with a multi-channel campaign that showed how being well-nourished helps us to be better people. And to face this information and cope with the economic issues caused by the increasing inflation this 2023, we want to show people all the power eggs can give us in our daily lives, making us go further while we eat healthy. Feel the power. We've been building all this with effort so Colombians can understand why eggs are the healthiest and affordable protein of the country.
So if you see, we start with
When
some.
it comes
Oh,
to
sorry.
nutrition, egg
We start first with the big headache that it was the egg is innocent, that is cholesterol. 2009, 2008, 11. We says this is the big headache, and it was the big elephant in the room. Everybody says don't consume eggs because they give you cholesterol. Even my grandma that is 89 years old, when she was around her 60, 70-year-old, they say you cannot consume eggs every day. You can consume 2 eggs a week. That is something that we were able to attack directly with all the information that we have. All of us have it. It's not bad for you. It's good for you, actually. It doesn't give you bad cholesterol. It gives you good cholesterol, and in the way that you prepared it. So we start attacking the myth of cholesterol. 2009, 2011. That video, there was an egg on jail. It says the egg is innocent. The egg is innocent, and it was on national TV at the same time that more people watched TV at that time, actually. But it was on TV, and it says the egg is innocent. It was in jail. Say the egg is innocent. You can consume eggs because it no longer give you problems with cholesterol. Next step is easy ideas with eggs. We consume a lot of eggs. However, we consume them as food, as I told you, not as about ingredient. That's the next step that we need to move forward. So the next 2 years, we continue evolving, not only talking about that the eggs are good for you, but they are versatile. You can prepare them in several ways. And this is the next step that we did. This was really important. Why? She is a Colombian gold medalist, Olympic medalist from BMX bicycle. A young woman that all of us support, and she came on national TV with this commercial and says, I consume eggs. But before you hire somebody like this, they truly believe that eggs are good for them, that eggs are good them. And if it's good for high quality standard and Olympics medalist, why it's not good for you that you are at home watching this? So we need to the next step. It's not only good for you, it's a superfood. And we elaborate more on that. And we were able to hire another gold medalist of Colombia, Mariana Pajon. She's a long jump. She's an athlete, a world-class athlete. And in one interview, they asked her, hey, how many eggs do you consume? No. What do you consume for breakfast? She said, I always consume eggs for breakfast. 3 eggs every day. And there was another famous cyclist that we weren't able to hire him at that point, but we did it later. That is Rigoberto Uranda. They gave an interview to him. He was after he was running and say, why you have so much energy? He said, because I consume my eggs every day. We didn't pay for that, but we leverage on that. So we evolved from being something that they say that is bad for you, going for as a superfood that it was used by athletes, by professional athletes, and says, this is what we eat. And the next step, the egg for the children. The children for us is really important because all of us, I'm a father of 2, 9 and 6 years old, 9 and 5-year-old. Both of them, every single morning, or when they don't want to eat, we, as my parents did with me, as my grandparents did with my parents, says you need to consume something that have a lot of protein in order to go to school. So we create this for the children. And the other stuff that we create for the children was that cartoon that is called La Liga Super Crack. This was made by the same studio that created Encanto, the movie from Disney, and they develop this cartoon. We are lucky that here in Colombia, we develop a lot of these, not at the same price that they do it in the US. So they subcontract that to Latin America, exactly to Colombia, and we have a lot of knowledge on that. So we create the first cartoon. That cartoon is in YouTube right now, and it's about superheroes, all of them eggs that have superpowers, and each superpower is one characteristic of the eggs. It can give you better vision, it can give you strength, it can get you to concentrate. So that's, and the bad guys are food that it doesn't help you, food that sometimes it doesn't make you grow and be a better, have a better body. And the last one, that is one is really important, nutrition. Nutrition, nutrition, and nutrition. We don't sell eggs, we sell nutrition. We give nutrition to the people of the country. And because our topography is so hard to get one point to another, eggs, we don't refrigerate eggs. And we were able to transport eggs to several other regions of the country. So that gives you a path. We have been working on this for the past 15 years. It's not a one day. We have been evolving from, it's not bad for you, it's good for you actually. It's even so good for you that the highest quality sports people in the world that have gold medals consume eggs, and it's really good for your children. So we are growing the consumption for the next generations. But it's about nutrition. And nutrition is what we are doing now. We have made some alliances. So now only, it's not only good for you, that is only a cardio protector for your heart. That Fundación Colombiana del Corazón is the cardiologist of the country. And they say, this is so good for you, that is, you are being able to consume this and it will help your heart. And also Bienestar Familiar, that is the national entity that helps the nutrition for the children. We work really close together with them. And with these two associations, ABACO, that is the food banks of the country, that we are going to launch this year, the World Egg Day, we are going to launch our largest campaign regarding nutrition. We have not done anything like this in the past, but we believe that we have a superfood and we have a moral. We have a moral with our country. We need to help some of the nutrition of our children. So this year, we are not going to focus on marketing of the World Egg Day. We are going to focus on nutrition, and I'm going to show you why. Tras la Perla, that is a famous singer of Colombia Foundation from the Caribbean, and we create this for a year. We give to a complete town of 1,000 people eggs to see how, in the beginning, they start. So we send nutritionists, we send doctors, and we send eggs every day. Why we send that eggs every day? We want to measure how they start and how they end. If we were able to fix the nutrition problem in a town only with eggs, imagine what we can do with all the children and all the people in Colombia. So this is the video that I want to show you about. This is a region of Colombia that is in the Caribbean side. That is a town of fishermen. However, because they built a highway, they stop the fish coming from that part. So that's one of the regions that have the highest disnutrition of the country. Let me show you this video.
Nos encontramos en el corregimiento de Buenavista Magdalena, un pueblo palafito de la Ciénaga Grande. Gracias a Dios se nos presenta este proyecto como mandado por el mismo Dios. Viene el programa de nutrición acompañado de la entrega de los huevos. La comunidad se emocionó mucho.
Nos alegramos cuando vienen los huevitos. ¡Ay, los huevos bien! Y estos pelados blancos. Yo se lo preparo a mis hijos en el desayuno. se los preparo en el almuerzo, como ayer apenas que llegaron y enseguida mis hijos lo consumieron.
Hemos tenido algunos programas, pero han sido fugaces, vienen una vez y ya después no vuelven. Pero con FENADE ha habido la continuidad y eso hace que uno confíe en el programa y en la nutrición de muchos niños y de muchos mayores, adultos mayores.
Desde de mañana que uno se levanta, come huevo, que eso es una energía nutritiva. Y el huevo es algo importante porque no necesita refrigeración.
A todos los avicultores de Colombia, desde acá, desde Buenavista, Magdalena, Pueblo Palafito de la Ciénaga Grande, les mandamos un agradecimiento muy, muy, muy infinito.
Y le damos gracias de corazón y yo le doy gracias en nombre de este pueblo.
Pero le doy la muchísimas gracias.
So this was the pilot program we did for 3 years in this town. It's in the middle of the water. There is actually no land. They build and live in the water. The children learn to swim before they learn to walk. However, they have a huge nutrition problem in that country. And we believe that if we can send the message that we can give nutrition, it also helps us attack some of the problems that all the world's having right now in the egg production side. That is with animal welfare, with everything, because we believe that we as a developing country, we need to speak up and be proud of the production that we have. So the effort that all the egg producers of Colombia this year are going to do is this. We are going to give 1 million eggs for the children of the country for 1 year. We are doing it with the food banks of the country. We are going to launch the campaign in the World Egg Day, that is October the 12th, next October 13th, that is no, October 12th. Let me see my calendar. It's October 11th, that is next Friday. We are going to do this. We are working with the Food Banks Association. We are going in the same day to 7 different cities on the country. We are going to go national TV and says the egg producers of Colombia are going to donate 1 million eggs. Why we want to do this? Because if we were able to put into the imaginary of the Colombians that eggs are good for you, that eggs are superfood, that eggs are nutrition, we want to give the message of nutrition. We are not going to spend a lot of money in marketing this year. We are going to spend a lot of money on eggs on sending the message. Of course, we're going to get a lot of free press and everything, but for us, eggs became so important in the country that even we have a huge problem in 2021 when the government tried to put taxes on eggs. The people went to the streets and it becomes a huge political issue. Now when there is some blockades in the street and there are some problems, everybody having in mind, we need to save the children and we need to continue producing more eggs. So eggs are really important for us and we want to leverage more on that. That's the next step that we are going to do. Is this the first campaign in the world that actually somebody have been donate 1 million eggs? We have heard 150, 200,000 eggs, but we are going to do it in 1 year, 1 million eggs. All donated by the producers. This is something we are not putting money on this from the checkoff account. Is the producers the ones we are doing the campaign and we're doing everything behind it. But it's something really important because next year we are going to grow roughly 6.5% in egg production. So we need to do a lot of campaigns in order to continue consuming more eggs. Because if we continue this trend, we are going to reach Mexico, that is 380 eggs, probably in 3 years. So that's actually our next step that we're going to talk. We need to continue growing on being sanitary and sustainable eggs. Today, we start exporting eggs to the Caribbean, some other countries, to, as you know, roughly less than 5% of the world egg consumption is from other country. However, you can go to some of the countries that you are by your side, and we have the production size, we have the quality, we have the sanitary, and we are working really hard on the sustainability. As a country, we will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 55%. We want to maintain, that is really important for us, our sanitary and status. That means free of Newcastle and free of avian influenza. Achieve at least 365 units of consumption per capita. I think that we're going to reach that next year. We are going to end with 346 this year, and we are going to be 370 probably next year if something not extraordinary happen. That's how we're going to grow next year. But we are growing also in some areas that we need to do more research. That is with products based on eggs. Some of our members are actually right now developing bars, protein bars made of eggs. Others create some drinks made of eggs. It's a small market, but we believe that maybe some high income people, even to export to some other countries, it could be a good idea to continue going in that path. And also because for us, it's still being a food, it's still being in your plate. You see the eggs, other countries use as an ingredient. So we will able to continue growing in that case, not only for the food size, but as an ingredient in cakes, in pancakes, in now the sport people, the people that do weights need a lot of protein. So, and some of it comes from whey protein that is from milk. We believe that there's going to be a huge opportunity for the egg production in that side. And animal welfare. This is something that we need to attack directly. And it's something that I didn't elaborate because I didn't have the time. But I believe, as the president of the Colombian Association, as being at the board of ALA, being in the board of IPC, being in several other international egg organizations, several other organizations globally, that we need to become experts on animal welfare. We cannot let the NGOs be the experts on animal welfare. We need to be the experts. We have people dedicated only to that, to study animal welfare. We were able to stop all the bills in the Congress that want to reduce the housing of the eggs, that want to reduce the cages. We were able to do that, but from a technical approach. And because we all in Latin America share the same language, Spanish, we can actually create some spaces in webs and in that you can multiply the message in Spanish. So for the other associations, our neighbors, it's easier for them to use them. So we believe that this is something that we need to attack. Sadly, it has been moving really forward in Europe. And I think that sometimes when something is starting in Europe, many other parts of the world start copying, like Africa, like us, like Asia. We need to attack that directly. So that's why we are working really hard on animal welfare, because as a developing country, we need all the eggs that we can produce. It's not only free range and only cage, we need everything. Well, we need to focus on the sanitary. I forgot to tell you, by law, every farm that had more than 200 birds, by law, it has to be biosecurity. And that is something that was able for us to stop the spread of avian influenza and to eradicate Newcastle, because we cannot control how the wild birds, the migratory birds, pass all over Colombia. Colombia received the second receiver of migrant birds in the world. So migratory birds, they are going to pass no matter what. What we need to be is really prepared when something like this happened. We were prepared for many years. When it hit us in 2021, we put a lot of resources, a lot of time. We have 40 veterinarians dedicated only for the sanitary programs, and we work really hard with the sanitary authorities that at the end is the authority that need to control. So we can talk about that later, but that's what I want to present to you, to show you a little bit overview of Colombia and how we were able to grow our egg consumption and how we are really proud of our eggs. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Gonzalo. That was a really fantastic presentation, just great information. And I can say personally, my first trip with Highline to Colombia was in 1996. So I've watched this great evolution of egg consumption from a country that just ate 130 eggs, very low, now to being one of the world leaders. So it's really fantastic, the work that FENAVI and all the egg producers have put together there in Colombia. You know, as we thought about doing this presentation and continue to do more of this to share with the world, we was highlighting, we look at the world, we look at, you know, between India and Africa, in the next 2 decades, they're going to reach like 3.5 or 3.6 billion people. So it's a huge part of the world. And the consumption levels are 100 eggs per capita, or on average, if you average that part of the world. So it's kind of where Colombia was 30 years ago. So I think there's a lot of interest from these places. If they can go from 100 to 200, or just to world average, or get up to a high consumption like Colombia, just be fantastic for not only for the egg industry and all the, you know, the allied people that work in it, but it'd be really good for their countries, right? For these people to have access to this great protein. I don't know, Gonzalo, if you were looking, you look at Africa, you look at India and these parts of the world with these low egg consumptions, what would be the maybe what top 1, 2, 3 points to say, hey, here's what I would advise you guys to kind of start launching this process, and what would you say would maybe be those top couple points that you would give them to launch this?
Yeah, first, it's not only about marketing, because many people think that it's only about marketing, but that's why I start with the sanitary, because I believe that you can have a lot of people wanting to buy eggs, but they are really expensive. They are not going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be really efficient with the limited resources that you have. So Africa and Asia, Asia have a huge problem with African swine fever for the pork industry, and they start hiring the sanitary status. I think that sanitary is an obsession for us, but I will start with that, because there are some, every week, there's many agencies in Colombia that want to say, hey, I want to give 50 chickens to a producer, and say, don't do it. If you want to really, really, really teach them, we have a program, and we teach with some resources of the government how to transform even backyard chicken to sanitary entities that can actually increase production. And there is something that it was amazing for us. We became really experts on water. Water is the resource that we have. And what we learn is the best fed that you can give to a bird is the best quality of the water. But you can give the best fed, but you have worse water, they just put it in the floor. They just put you will create amazing manure, amazing, but they will not increase. So that is something that we were able, and today we are continue growing. We are going to reach next year a level that we are scared, because there's a lot of eggs. When you have roughly 370 per capita egg consumption, what is the roof? You don't know, but the prices actually are coming down because the fed is coming down and everything, but because efficiency too. So I would say that. And second, and more important, we need to start selling eggs as superfood for nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that we have invested a lot of time and a lot of money, because now in the minds of the people, they say, if I want my children to have good quality food, I prefer to give them eggs instead of giving another issues. It comes in a natural packing. You can cook whatever you want. It's very versatile. For us, it's really cheap. We produce really cheap eggs because we have a high competition in the market. But some producers were able to develop brands and everything. But it's also, I will say that two things, and to attack sometimes these myths. I know that in India was a problem with H5N1, it hits to the public. Some people say that it's because of eggs and everything. Those myths they go really spread through the social media, through WhatsApp, and we were able to stop them, but there is a tool that we use to hear what is happening in socials, in Facebook and everything. And if something pop up in order from eggs or from chicken, that we have both of them, we have specific campaigns focused on that.
Oh, really good, really good. Yeah, so it sounds like the step number 1 is get the sanitary conditions in order, so people trust the eggs, they trust that it's a safe product to eat, and avoid some bad news of disease issues and things like that to have a quality product. Then 2 would be really raise the awareness, where I guess it's the point you've gotten to the last few years, is raising the awareness of people that how good eggs are and that they're affordable. So it's really such a great, like I said, superfood, and it's really accessible to most people in a price scale when you look at the different protein prices of protein.
Also, Tom, in
Yeah.
point number one, it's not
Yeah.
only because it's safe for the public, it's good for your pocket. Because
Yeah.
when you have a best sanitary, you produce more with the limited resources that you have. So that is something we became really efficient because all the fat for us come in boats. We ship 7 million tons of corn every year. That's a lot of corn, a lot of corn. And we learn to become really efficient with what we have. So if you don't have all the fat that we don't have, next, we need to brought it really far away. So you need to be really efficient with the resources that you bring.
Good, good. And I think a common question also is that to do this kind of promotion, do these efforts, in the end of the day, it requires money. And I know that you indicate, and that's always when I travel the world and you talk to these groups, say, wow, we've got some great ideas, but who's going to pay for it? And so you get these associations, and it sounds like maybe one of the keys to success of the Colombia industry is this checkoff, right? It's kind of required by law, and all the maybe explain just briefly how that works.
Yes.
There's money, there's a nice pot of money that's there available, so you can make these great promotions and advertising and everything. So maybe if you could touch on that briefly.
Every bird that is born in a hatchery, they pay for chicken 1.7% of the commercial price of the chicken. And for egg consumption is 7.7% of the price of the chicken. Our budget is 65% funded by chicken, 35% from egg consumption. But we use the budget that is roughly $7 million a year for sanitary, first, environmental, economic, and what is left, we put 65 for chicken, 35% for eggs. So at the end, the marketing with the egg program, it have $800,000 a year. You don't have any more.
Okay.
But we use the resources really efficiently. And we are not the largest coffee in the country. Coffee is larger, beef is larger, pork is larger, but we have the largest numbers. So it's how you use your money. And yes, without money, it's impossible. But sometimes, first, another message is we need to get more together with because I see sometimes the association have egg on one side, chicken and different association. If you are split, all the resources that you have, you're going to be split. So the big issue, the sanitary, the environmental, we work together. And that is something that we were able to work and have economies of scale and also have a higher voice in the government and to the public.
Oh, good. A question from Korea is FENAVI involved in regulating egg production in any way?
No, free market.
Free market.
A free market, and we don't regulate, not like Canada, that's a sample. No, here is a free market, and whatever you want to grow, sometimes we grow too much. And if you see the cycles, when the prices go down, they slow down, but we have been having a couple of good years after the pandemic, so we have been in a steady growth. But no, it's a free market. And actually, in every meeting, before we start the meeting, we read the compliance of competitive. We copy that from the US because sometimes people get confused, and we need to be really careful with that.
Okay, good. And as far as the consumption habits of Colombia, before you started pushing the marketing of eggs, which type of protein was most preferred? I think you showed your graph. Was there a preference for another protein and then eggs replaced it, or just kind of grew all the proteins here over the last 30 years?
From egg and chicken. Before that, it was not. Actually, we realized that people don't consume that much eggs because they were really concerned because of cholesterol.
Okay.
But now and there is also something funny because the prices of eggs in the country have been so low for the past 30 years. When the people, they go outside the country, they get shocked of the prices of eggs in other countries. That is something funny.
It is. You look at the USA right now, eggs have gotten very expensive. I went yesterday to the grocery store, and kind of shocked because it's used to be, and it's still comparatively, it's still not expensive, but it's gotten high in the USA because of the sanitary issues. We've had to sacrifice a number of birds from the avian flu that's gone through the country, and we have an eradication program. So as we take the birds out, production goes down, and people are demanding eggs. People want eggs. Egg consumption is high and increasing in the US as well. And these supply shocks have made them expensive to the point that people are complaining about egg prices. You want to avoid that. So I think that's really a testament to your comment of the number one is the sanitary, to make sure you have a reliable supply of clean eggs, and then keep the price affordable so people just want to buy eggs because it's such a good source of protein and so inexpensive. So yeah, I see that in the USA. And maybe I'll look for one last question. I don't want to abuse your time here. It's been such good information. I saw there's another. Are there any government programs to support the poultry industry in Colombia? Does the government put some subsidies for egg producers to promote this? Cooperation to try to reach poor people? Maybe the country says, oh, I want to reach poor people with eggs. Maybe they support the egg producers to supply eggs to poor people or things like that.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We work as the government never exists. That's the policy of our sector. We don't receive subsidies. We don't receive everything. We compete in the market.
Yeah.
The government buy eggs. Yes, they buy. They buy for the food programs, roughly 4% of the total market. They go into, and some of the work that we do is, please buy eggs. Instead of buying tuna, instead of buying something that is more expensive, buy eggs. That's why that campaign in that Caribbean region was so important. Because when you give, when the government want to give something for the children, they say, hey, I prefer to give eggs. And in my lifetime, I have seen in Colombia how we evolve from boxes of 12 to boxes of 24, and now to boxes of 30. So if you go to a supermarket now, I forgot to show you the pictures. You go to supermarket, you have huge aisles of eggs with the brands, but also you have this huge pile of eggs of 30. And you will carry them. And there are some, even now, some bags especially only to carry the 30 eggs, because we consume eggs different to many countries of the world. For breakfast, minimum 2. And there is one campaign that I didn't show you. Sometimes at lunch, when you go to, we call corrientazo, that is like food that you go on in a restaurant near your office. And sometimes it's custom for us. They say, I don't want soup like an entrance. I want an egg on top of my plate. So we consume eggs at breakfast, eggs at lunch, eggs at dinner. But we see the egg. That is something that is shocking. You go to Europe, we was in the International Egg Commission meeting a couple of weeks ago in Venice, last week actually. For breakfast, only sweets. We are not used to that. We are used to seeing the eggs. And in the restaurants, if you go, or in the chain of hotels, they prepare the egg in front of you. That is something that we are used to. So sometimes we hate it when we go to Europe or to other places, because we say we cannot eat something sweet for breakfast. For us, it's eggs. So that is something that is in our culture, and we want to continue to the next generations. That's why we are working with that.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting comment. I think all of us can learn from that as we're making these seminars and promoting things in our industry and work with a hotel. We should make it a rule that the hotel has to serve eggs. And in fact, Highline, we're doing some of this next seminars we actually told the hotel that when they're looking at the food plan, we said, we got breakfast. No, we have eggs on the menu, because we have to practice what we preach, I think. And consume eggs, and like you say, make them very visible, make people see them, and people like eggs. And I just, maybe last comment is, I saw in the news here in the US, on the news, I saw that there's a gentleman, is a Harvard researcher, and he was eating 720 eggs in 1 month. He was eating 24 eggs a day, and he's a researcher. He said, I want to prove that the cholesterol in eggs consumed are not affecting his blood levels. His LDL, the bad cholesterol, decreased. He's eating 24 eggs a day. So, I mean, it's just amazing. You see these latest, from scientists. These aren't just egg people trying to make money. These are scientists saying that the eggs are really, like I said, a superfood. You need to eat eggs to be a healthy diet, and it's just amazing. Every day you see, every time there's new studies, it's just better and better and better news for the egg. No?
And we need to do something to work together, all of us. That's why we are here.
Yeah.
Because we need to be really proud of the egg production. What I'm seeing in Europe, when you go to Europe, they are ashamed of producing eggs.
Yeah.
Because the cage and everything say, we are really proud of our eggs.
Mhm.
And we are a proud industry, and we talk and we say, we give nutrition to our people. We give nutrition to our country. That's why we are giving 1 million eggs to the general public, because we are really proud of it, and we are not ashamed of talking about the egg production. And that is something that I believe that sometime in Europe, they need to do more step forward and do it. And many NGOs copy a lot of ideas in many countries. We fight with them. I fight with them in radio, in national television, everywhere, but with facts. And we have facts and saying, if you want to take the egg out of the children, please tell me how you're going to feed those population. So that is something that we are working on. We need to hold the whole world to go forward on that.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment. Really, we should be, as an egg industry around the world, we should be proud of what we're doing. Yeah, don't feel ashamed if people talk about, oh, you're bad for the environment. Eggs are great for the environment. The conversion ratios of 2 to 1, 2 kilos of feed to make an egg is better than any other protein outside of fish. Poultry and eggs are the best converters, better than pork, better than beef, better than other options. The emissions to make an egg protein is much lower than other sources. And it's, as we said, it's also very affordable. To get 100 grams of egg protein is cheaper really than almost any other source. So it's affordable for poor people. We feed, and then all the populations for the health benefits and for the environment. I mean, it's a very sustainable protein. The reduced emissions, reducing the carbon footprint of the eggs as we get more and more and more efficient. It's really just, we have such a great story, and we need to keep telling that story. And you've done a great job in Colombia. And I really hope, and I think we'll see that this has been great information, Gonzalo. Thank you so much for all of this. And I'm kind of anxious to hear the feedback from Asia. You know, we're in South Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa. This has gone out to Asia, and kind of get some feedback, because there's many parts of the world that really are where you guys were 30 years ago. So it's kind of going to be exciting what the next decade can hold for these parts of the world. And I think we'll just see some tremendous growth. And just thank you for this information, speaking from experience of the Colombian Miracle. And thank you so much. This has been recorded, so I have this to share even beyond this group that was here with us today, and then keep promoting the eggs. So, thank you so much, Gonzalo, for your time. Thank you, everyone who's participated with us today.
Thank you, and let's keep up the work together. We need to continue growing together. That's something. And later we can talk about the research that we have been doing, because there is some more steps that you can use the egg for. We were in Venice, and it was so amazing, because this guy that want to use fly soldiers, and we have been using them for the past 6 years. We are now in the farms using it, and we in the organoleptic stage right now. We are 15 years ahead of what they're doing, but we are going to collaborate, because that is something that we can work together, and the whole world can benefit from that. So we have many other issues that we can talk.
Awesome. Well, no, thank you so much for your time, Gonzalo. I appreciate it. And we'll have to maybe, if you'd maybe come back in a few months or 6 months or a year from now, and if there's some new information, and also give you back some feedback on what we see around the world. So thank you so much, Gonzalo, for your time. Have a great rest of your day, and thank all of you here watching our webinar. And well, keep eating eggs. We don't sell eggs, we sell nutrition, as Gonzalo says. So keep that in mind, everyone out there on egg production, and thank you for all your work, and let's eat more eggs. So